Last week, the three Democratic candidates vying to represent the 13th Norfolk District in the Massachusetts legislature shared their backgrounds and qualifications for the position. Now let's delve into their key focus areas and perspectives on critical issues.
Housing and climate change are top priorities for all three candidates. They broadly support the Affordable Homes Act, filed by Governor Maura Healey, which aims to boost investment in affordable housing and reduce policy barriers to housing production. The legislation has passed both the Senate and the House of Representatives in separate versions, and now the two branches must reconcile their differences. Notably, both branches removed the local option transfer fee on the sale of high-value properties. Patrick Gatto and Ken Runick expressed disappointment over this omission.
I'm supportive, right? I mean, affordable housing is huge. The idea that those funds were going to be earmarked for affordable housing or education, it's like, as I said, teachers are heroes, right? Affordable housing is a big issue that we need to address. I know that some people take issue with the 1 million threshold or the 3 million, and that can be debated, but I had wished that, it had continued and it didn't get stripped out.
Especially living in a town like Needham where our real estate property values are so high, I would want to see the fee enacted. I've heard pushback from Needham residents about stuff like this, but the reality is if you decided to move here in the 80s or the 90s, you didn't work for your house to double in value, to 2.5x in value. And, that's sort of where the real estate transfer fee comes into play in my mind.
Josh Tarski, however, was more reserved about the proposed surcharge.
I think that's one of those things I need to speak to more of the constituency on. I'd like to get a better sense of what people in the community feel and think about that. There is a tension here. People want their property values not to sink, right? And at the same time, we want a more inclusive society. And figuring out what that looks like is a challenge. And I think I would just like more input before I say yes or no to that specific issue.
Gatto acknowledged as a freshman representative, his ability to push forward a specific agenda might be limited. He plans to focus on building relationships during his first term.
One of my immediate short-term goals is just build those relationships so when we have the ask and we have the need, we have the existing infrastructure relationship-wise to go knock on the door of leadership and say, hey, how can we work on this?
Gatto also emphasized the importance of becoming familiar with the budgeting process.
Because that's a lot of what happens up there. So we need, to definitely know that forwards and backwards. And, part of that process would be increasing local aid. That's one of my short-term goals as first-term rep.
Runick highlighted his commitment to promoting transparency in the state government, specifically through advancing the Sunlight Act, which proposes several reforms, including requiring all recorded committee votes to be posted and making testimony publicly available.
As constituents, we have to keep our elected officials held accountable for, the job that we want them to do and the job that we elected them to do. And so anything that gets in the way of us being able to sort of audit our own elected officials, it creates a weird air of distrust maybe, or, I'm not saying that people are doing bad things behind closed doors. I'm just saying that if you're unwilling to make it easier for the general public to access, what's happening in these closed meetings, then what are you so afraid of?
Tarski wants to improve political discourse and help bridge the growing political divide.
Just working with different groups of people productively, regardless of what side of the aisle they're on, I can help with that. I just want to progress, and I'm happy to listen to people of all different beliefs and work towards common solutions. I just think there's not enough of that right now.
The full interviews with each of the three candidates will begin airing tonight on the Needham Channel's Municipal, Community, and HD channels. They will also be available on the Needham Channel's YouTube page. The winner of the primary election will face Bill Dermody in November. We also spoke to Dermody, and his interview will be published simultaneously on YouTube. For Needham Channel News, I'm Yu Xiaoyuan.